Hey there, this is Tim, and this is my new spicy quote. I sent out a survey a couple weeks ago asking people if they wanted me to keep doing the same kind of videos or spice it up a bit, and about half the people said they wanted me to spice it up. So I'm going to do that on YouTube. There's time constraints on Twitter and Instagram that make that a little bit daunting, so I think YouTube's a better place to be a little more creative and so on. But we'll see how it goes. You can always leave your comments below and let me know any suggestions you might have, etc. And I'd appreciate it if you kept those family oriented. In any event, the quote I'm going to use today is that failure isn't fatal and success isn't forever. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, I think the essence of this is that you shouldn't believe your own bullshit. So if you fail, which all of us have at whatever, I mean, like when you learn to walk as a kid, of course you like fell down a million times. I mean, all of us have the inevitable like scars on our elbows and knees and whatnot from falling off bikes and, you know, trying different stuff, in particular when we're kids. But sometimes as we get older, we take failure a little too seriously. You know, we start believing it means something. So we let it become almost paralyzing in its effect on us, where we go out to do something, and because it doesn't go the way we want in the first or second try, whatever, we start telling ourselves a story that we're not competent enough to do it. When the reality is we probably just haven't given it enough time to master it, or thought enough about what mastery should look like in a first or second attempt. So don't kind of tell yourself that lie, all right? And I mean, a great example for me is when I started Tweet Jukebox. You know, this was a business. I had never been in an online business before, and we went through a million stumbling blocks, and we did a zillion things wrong. I mean, the initial interface sucked. I made mistakes in the way I dealt with people, you know, like the ideas I had, but it happens, you know, and I mean, just you make a mistake, you try to correct for it as best you can, you go out and you try again, and you find your way, you know. I mean, what was a pretty messy process in the beginning, over time has become cleaner. So don't allow yourself to think that just because you're not an expert at something that you shouldn't be doing it, because nobody starts out as an expert. The second way this manifests itself is believing your bullshit in another direction, which is that you've succeeded and somehow now you think you're a genius. And this can be equally deadly. I mean, it's awesome when it happens that you've succeeded and, you know, like something's really going your way. But the people who somehow believe that they've got it all figured out almost inevitably end up looking really foolish in the end. And a great example of that is Blockbuster Video, this American video chain, which many of you probably know about. And they knew about digital. They knew it was out there, but they didn't view it as a threat. And how that could be that people were in the actual video business didn't think that people would rather stay at home and just plug into like Netflix, who originally was just saving people the drive until the whole digital platform was more robust. They didn't see this as a threat to their business, and as a result, they're gone. They don't have a business anymore. And I think, you know, this is a failure of a different kind, right? It's a failure to appreciate that things aren't going to stay the same, that just because you've succeeded in the first try or you've had a nice run, that somehow it's just going to go on forever, because it's just not true, you know. And Blockbuster is a great example of that. So, you know, the solution here, in my estimation anyway, is to realize that things usually aren't as bad in the failure case, or as great in the success case, as that you imagine. You know, the reality of what we're doing is almost always in the middle. So when you're trying something and it's not going your way, try to cut yourself a little bit of slack, because it does take time, depending on the complexity of whatever you're doing, to figure things out. And conversely, if you're lucky enough to have some success very early on, remember that it may not continue on that way. You know, you may want to sort of check your bearings and so on, so that you really understand what's happening, so you don't end up in a situation where what seems like, you know, this kind of eternal business or eternal like success strategy you have somehow comes to an abrupt end. All right? So that's the quote for the day. And again, if you have any thoughts, whatever, please leave them in the comments. And I would also really appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be making more videos, and I'll refine the process as we go. But as I said with the failure piece, you got to start somewhere. This isn't my perfect video, but it's getting us started, and we'll see what comes next. All right, and with that, I wish you an awesome day. We'll see you soon.